Yeah, so, they don't all look flawless all the
And you
time,
know
but
what? They
so be it.
shouldn't.
No, exactly.
They
That's
shouldn't.
the
They
nature of the
shouldn't.
beast.
Definitely need some of this in my.
The lickness is fun.
Lickness is fun, and there's, obviously I'm from Oklahoma City, and I can grow a lot of this, but not all of it. And,
Right.
and the other thing is the nature of growth. Here it just gets massive,
Yeah.
and where we are, things are just kind of naturally contained by the heat.
Well, and we've also had an unusually wet, cool spring.
We have too.
So everything
Yeah.
is kind of extra bulky. They've liked the water.
The
this
water,
year.
and then they splay from just the physical weight.
Yeah, these nepidas, they're due for a divide.
And is this Walker's Low?
I think so, yeah. Or Six Hills Giant is the another one that we use a lot. We have a head gardener named Cheryl Whalen who's very talented, and she knows what self-sowers to leave be, which ones to edit. I don't need to tell you, it's a constant edit.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Would you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just say, I would like to quote you on that.
Yeah,
It's a
sure
constant edit. At a certain point, it's no longer what you plan. It's just really it's what you edit out.
Well, and I say, that could sound like a chore, but that's just,
No,
that's what we're doing here.
It's artistry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's artistry. Look at this. What is this?
This is a polyanthus type called Pretty Poly Pink. I think I have that right.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty Poly Pink, yeah. So that's spray form. And it does this year after year without a beat.
Well, the intensity of the color.
Especially with a little cloud color, it really jumps out at you.
But not,
not a lot of fragrance.
Look at this. I just love this in some ways, this is so much more enticing to me than even the bloom because there's got that sense of expectation.
This plant's just getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice
now,
one.
I have never had issues in growing alliums before this year.
Yeah? Really?
And this year, we were so wet.
Oh, interesting.
And of course, even with additional supplemental drainage added, we garden in heavy clay.
Yeah, right.
And
at a certain point, bulbs just tap out.
They do. Yeah. And you have to kind of just know that what is not good for one type of plant will be good for another type of plant,
right.
and it will respond better.
Yeah. This garden in the spring has a nice carpet of forget-me-nots, which is one of the self-sowers that we kind of let go.
And your lady's mantle, the alchemilla.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, what I would give. This is my favorite thing.
Yeah. Nice fresh
just
color.
The way the raindrops.
Yeah. Bedazzled.
It's just.
We often have Allium Christophii down sort of
in there,
bouncing off of it, which is a fun combo.
Yeah. It does not like our prairie soil.
Yeah.
No, it does not like it. Or our prairie heat, or.
Yeah, it wouldn't normally be this big this early, but again, everything's sort of extra lush this year. Lots of salvias, like I said. We grow lots of irises, tall-bearded and otherwise.
Is this a gem?
Yeah, I think that's totally tangerine.
Okay, how sweet is that? Do you sell seed?
We don't sell seed.
You don't sell seed,
no,
just a plant.
Just
okay,
the plants.
So I'm making a notation of things that I'm going to have to order.
This is a
order
lovely
from
one.
you.
We use one called Mai Tai, which is not as tall and is a sort of less strong orange, but there's such a nice in-between season plant, and the way they find their way between other things so nicely.
One form of plant that I'm becoming increasingly obsessed with are plants that I call the hoverers. They just hover delicately above, everything else, and they kind of blow in the wind, and they're almost stringy or something. Plants are like you can see things insinuate themselves through them, and that is like a mid-sized hoverer.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, look at the color.
Well, I have that's at last is the peach one. I have a soft spot for yellow roses myself, so we'll always have plenty of those.
Again, the fragrance is just
Yeah, we're just kind of
unbelievable.
we're covered in it right
Just
now.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Have you had, and no one has said yes so far that I've interviewed, had any problem with rose rosette?
We haven't
Here.
seen it here that I'm aware of. Although now that you say that, that looks a little ominous.
Ooh, ooh.
It's funny, I hadn't even noticed that before. You might know, Linda, is the multiflora rose, is that a reservoir of it?
I know that, the knockouts really are particularly prone to it. One thing where I have suspected I had it at my own home, because it's got this characteristic really dark color, and the witch's broom form and the excessive thorniness.
Yeah.
But one thing about this is, however, you've got look at the whole.
Yeah, that might just be young.
That might be young.
Young
And
tissue.
the other thing is it growing straight,
Right.
or is it growing crooked and in a
gnarled.
contorted way?
Yeah.
And this looks to be growing straight.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
that's a good sign. But
I'm not aware that we've seen it on the property. It has been seen in Connecticut.
it's been really bad in Oklahoma.
I believe it.
Really bad. I mean, and it has taken out even disease-resistant roses, really old-fashioned mammoth roses.
Right.
It's been heartbreaking.
Well, and there's no tool, right? It's
No,
just,
there's nothing
yeah.
other than shovel pruning.
shovel pruning. Yeah.
Look at that.
So we're sort of past the foot traffic peak for our store, which is kind of a shame because the gardens just keep getting stronger here.
Yeah.
We're sort of just getting started. This is a cool plant, Linda. I don't know if you grow oringiums, but looks like nothing else.
Like a sea holly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from silvers to these sort of steely blues, just a cool.
And it demands pretty good drainage, does it not?
Yeah.
And that's always an issue where we are. But boy, it's spectacular.
Once you get it going.
It's a very popular cut flower.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Great filler in the vase.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You said, it'll rot out on you if with wet feet. Yeah, well, I'm not sure whose adage it is that you don't know a plant until you kill it 3 times.
I think that's so true.
But we're not afraid to kill plants around here. That's just.
Okay, could you say that again?
Yes.
We're not afraid to kill plants around here.
We're not afraid to kill
plants. Quote, unquote.
People, we don't have all the answers. We know what we know about gardening here in Connecticut. And so we try to help people wherever they are. And we ship plants to the lower 48. But we certainly can't know it all, much as we wish we did.
Well, and isn't every garden a trial garden?
Exactly. When is it? It never ends in my book.
Yeah, I think every garden is a trial garden. Oh my goodness, this long view.
Yeah, it's nice.
Of that. I think probably my favorite color combo is this yellow, purple, lavender, white. I think it's my favorite color combo.
We use this campanula quite a bit. Just, sort of plays nicely with everybody.
It is. And the bell-shaped flowers. And it seems like we haven't passed one thing that doesn't make a good cut flower.
No, it's a good point, yeah.
So do you have your own favorites?
That's a great question. I'm interested in grasses. We're using more grasses in the gardens. I'm interested in things that have interesting foliage, that are sort of interesting to look at all year. I remember Kelly Norris saying, if you take a photograph of a garden, is it still interesting if it's in black and white? Different shapes, different textures. I think that's a pretty sophisticated, that's more sophisticated gardening than I'm capable of, but it's a nice way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Do you have a list of greatest hits perennials that you would say for the most part look really good three seasons, if not four?
Well, we don't have 4-season gardening here, so 4 would be a reach. I mean, we have perennials that we think of as super tried and true, you know, Rudbeckia, and Leucanthemum, and you know, the woodies, hydrangeas, and
The salvias, maybe.
yeah, lots of
Yeah.
perennial salvias, the nepidas. You know, we'll never be accused of being a super progressive nursery because we like the classics. You know?
Right, right. And the classic English gardening type of
that is,
things.
yeah, that's a little bit our heritage.
Now you were saying earlier, I'm really obsessed with penstemons now.
Nice, yeah.
I think there's so many, and there are
so
some
many
that
good
are
ones.
natives.
Yeah.
There are so many that are just really, really lovely.
Yep.
And one of my favorite design things is just great color echoes.
Right.
And the color of them makes such great color echoes with other parts of other plants. Like I'm looking in this with frangelica over here, and it's just glorious.
Yeah. Dark foliage is always kind
Dark
of fun.
yes, it's interesting, and it has an emotional quality that I think some others don't. Oh, this is wonderful. Now,
yeah, who is this?
Tell me about
Purple
this.
Rain. So, you know, perennial form, lower growing.
Oh, I love this.
And we grow a lot of the tender salvias as well, including in containers, but the perennials, we find they reliably overwinter for us here. And
this leaf form is very distinctive.
Kind of different. Yeah.
Okay, along with that gem, this is another one I'm adding to my shopping list.
Mental.
I'll try to share my shopping list with all of you of the things that I'm going to be ordering, so that you can know. But I mean, look at the drama of this.
Yeah.
Look at just the drama.
Yeah, it's funny, that mother plant comes back reliably for us.
Wow.
And, you know, nothing else like it in the garden, that's for sure.
Well, it's so statuesque, and it is so modern. Great architecture, great form. So you said you really are into grasses and things. What type of grasses are you particularly drawn to?
We're using blue stems, both big and little, more. We're using sedges, not grasses technically, but more sedges in the gardens. We use Carl Forrester quite a bit, which almost always looks nice.
Yeah.
And it's a giant plant palette that I have a lot to learn about, and it's fun to
It is
experiment.
fun, and it's one that, in my opinion, it really needs room to romp, though.
Yeah.
I mean, in a really small garden, I don't think you can do it justice.
Yeah,
Typically,
I agree.
maybe in a container, but even that is kind of confining.
Well, and a 7-foot Calamagrostis looks strange in a 8-square-foot garden. You know, it's
You think?
yeah.
You think? Oh my goodness, lupins.
Yeah, we like our lupins.
Not gonna find that.
We like our digitalis. We like
You're
our
loving. I love this color, and this for me, it blooms fairly early, and then you just cut it back, and it will just
keep pushing.
come back again. And one thing I love about the sages is I think they're so beautiful in a dried form.
Yeah.
Every bit as beautiful as dried lavender or anything, and I even like the fragrance in a dried state.
We grow a lot of clematis.
Yes.
Yeah, digitalis is fun. We've got clematis kind of tucked away in a lot of the gardens. There's, of course, a million nice ones.
Oh, there's a million nice ones. I used to have a million nice ones until clematis will arrive.
Yeah, right.
But another plant I need to use more, I just love it. I think Teucrium has so much to commend it.
Yeah.
And I used to grow it and I don't, so now that's reminding me that I need to
not the most
add it
dramatic
to my
thing in the
cottage
world,
garden.
but it does what it does very nicely.
It's a stalwart,
Yeah.
and it's And I love anything that has a tiny leaf or a small leaf, or that in any way kind of resembles boxwood.
Right.
And two cream is just wonderful, and I love its kind of glossiness, like this combo of just the matte gray leaf of the stachys.
Right. Yeah, so this garden, you know, is still young, but
So how you say it's still young? So how long has this been here?
I think this is its 5th or 6th summer, maybe.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's 5th or 6th summer.
Yeah. And we're learning things out here every day, you know, which is.
So talk a little bit about your assessment process and what will give it a 3 strikes and you're out rating?
Yeah, well, I don't want to make it sound like we are as rigorous as, you know, the RHS or Mount Cuba or Chicago Botanic, but
or even an extension center in your local university.
Yeah.
Oh, this is okay. What is this?
That is.
Is this too a kind of scabiosa?
Yes, thank you. The word was escaping me.
Okay,
Yep.
so I need desperately some of that.
Yeah, great color.
But I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, you know, so our trial process is less formal. We don't do row trials here, and we're not counting pollinator visits and that sort of thing. It's sort of a, you know, do we like it? Do we not like it? Do we like it for 2 years? Do we like it for 3 years?
Is it a good color combo?
Is it a good color
Is it
combo?
being successful in your client's garden?
What do we exactly? What do
in
we
your
hear from
customer
customers
gardens?
about it? You know, something that's routinely failing for customers. You know, we don't want to keep pushing on people.
Right. Can we kind of veer off
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
way?
Yeah. We call this next stretch the Lloyd border.
The Lloyd border, as in
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah,
okay.
so this garden was originally designed and installed by Fergus Garrett.
Oh, wow.
You know, Christopher Lloyd's protege
Yes.
and wizard of Great Dixter. And Cheryl looks after it, and it's evolved quite a bit. This garden went in the early 2000s. And, you know, it has a lot of English gestures. Beech hedge is the backdrop. Woody plants as sort of cornerstones. And then, you know, Cheryl has a bit of a tough job in that she's constantly having trial plants sort of, you know, dropped in her lap.
Right. Well, what I love about this, people often ask, how can I make my garden less high maintenance? And I'll say plant shrubs.
Yeah.
Plant blooming shrubs.
Right.
Plant shrubs that have great foliar color to them.
Right.
Or great form, even if it's not. You know, your smoke trees up here get so much more massive than they do where we are.
Yeah.
But glorious in the intensity of this.
And plant densely.
And yeah. And plant, absolutely. I often get this comment at my cottage garden that, Linda, you've got too many plants. Well, the eye doesn't know where to rest. And I say, well, that's the nature of a cottage garden. And the other thing is, that's why I don't spend a lot of time weeding, because of that.
Well, we don't want to be in the mulch game. You know, we want to be in the interesting plant game.
Exactly. And you want to spend your time with the plants and not time with the mulch, if you can. Boy, that Rudbeckia maxima.
It's getting ready to go.
It is getting ready to maximize.
Yep, that'll be tree high in not too long.
And boy, the degree of flowering.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many people think of spirea, but it's hard not to like them.
they were used so uniquely at Hollister House.
Oh yeah, it's such a beautiful.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if they'd gone to seed and they were
Right.
coming up at the base of the rise of the steps.
Oh, how nice.
And the effect was just unbelievable.
That's a special place. I'm glad you guys visited.
Oh, it was just incredible. And the use of this and the intensity of the color of your bloom
Right.
is also very different here.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, look at that grass back there. There, yeah. That is, that.
Kleine Spilber, yeah.
Yeah.
Miscanthus. Yeah, that. Right. I'm sure the comment
that,
section will correct my
right,
pronunciation.
you know, that's okay. Oh, that Midnight Marvel. All of this is exceptional.
Yeah.
Just really exceptional. And it's so, the scale is so brilliant.
Well, we're not under any illusions that people are going to go home and plant 300-foot borders.
Right.
The hope is that there's something in here that catches your eye, that gets you excited, that you're not familiar with, and you take a small bite and take it home with you.
Well, I think, I have as much avarice as any gardener, and
Right.
I would love to have one of everything
Right.
you have here, but I have to be very discriminating
Sure,
in
yeah.
what my list will contain.
Absolutely.
Because I only have so much real estate and
hours in the day
and hours in the day, and I grow in a different zone. But this is just absolutely spectacular. So, light is every bit as important a player as anything in the garden. And today we've got this soft English light.
That's nice. Yeah.
What must it be when some of this is backlit in the morning or backlit in the evening?
That's this is my 8 p.m. stroll in the summertime.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And this garden has a long way to go to be fulled out. By late September, it's just overflowing.
Yeah. Yeah. But just the shadows and the and I'm so envious of your soil. The quality of your soil is spectacular.
This garden is worked regularly. I think that's part of it. We don't particularly fertilize, we don't particularly mulch, but it's, you do get some control of the weeds over the years.
But there's that thing, if you mulch, that suppresses weeds, but it also suppresses some of the things that you want to self-seed and come back. And so there's that tension.
Yeah, friend or foe.
Yeah. And you were saying earlier that you really don't use chemicals, many chemicals at all here. And look at how beautiful it is.
Even in our greenhouse production, which is kind of on the other side of this knob, we've gone a long way towards beneficial insects and reduced chemical usage for all the obvious reasons.
Now this is a Nepeta. What does this bloom look like? This is deer.
Little white.
Oh, that is deer.
Yeah.
And does it?
Smells great.
May I?
Yeah, please. Yep.
Oh my goodness, that fragrance is exceptional.
It's delicious. Yep.
It's
minty, fresh. Yeah. Cat mint.
Okay, add that to my list.
I mean, among the many nice ones we grow, this has been kind of a standout. It's cherry frost, if I remember correctly. And cherry frost, yeah, it's, again, just bulletproof, not a lot of winter dieback for us, and off to the races.
And I'm not usually a big fan of red roses, but this is a good one, and I can really see this in a contemporary setting with other very, very deep foliar plantings. And it looks great with the stems of what is that back there?
That's Eupatorium coming on. Yeah.
Wow. Look at how large it is. So this combination of this black, almost black stem and this dark rose is just fabulous. So tell me about, because beech is something not common in my neck of the woods. And you've got are these weeping beeches?
This is just crabapple.
Oh, it's a crabapple. Seriously. And what is this over here?
This is a weeping beech.
Okay.
Yep, the big shaggy guy. And our taxodiums, the swamp cypresses that have been here forever for some reason. Yeah.
The scale is just
It's a real,
exceptional.
you go in there and it's sort of like you've, gone down the rabbit hole. It's a
Hobbit
different
land.
world in there.
Yeah.
They went in when the garden went in, so they're only 20 some years old.
Okay.
But these trees will do 4-6 feet a year.
And these are just common green giant.
It works.
You know, what I have at home, right, in a border, I've got a border of these, and then in front of that, I've got a beautiful stand of moondance hydrangea from Southern Living Plant Collections, and then white encore azaleas in front of it.
Beautiful.
But I can keep that contained because things just don't grow in my neck of the woods like they do here. But that is absolutely fantabulous. And just would be, oh gosh, the cuttings at Christmas time.
Yeah.
There's a little garden down here. What is that?
Yeah, this is, I always call it our tree peony grove. It's a little bit past. But we have some tree peonies that have been here for decades. And Siberian iris, which we use quite a bit. Even the herbaceous peonies are mostly past. And there's, our sort of vaguely more woodland, the heucheras and the tiarellas and
the shades of apricot that you have here are very distinctive and really.
I don't know if anybody cares about ajuga, but in the right space, if it does its job.
I think ajuga I think it's invaluable, and I know some people say it's invasive, but we have in Oklahoma, it will go where it wants to go, and then large patches will die out, but then it comes up someplace else. And I think it's indispensable as a ground cover, particularly in areas where you can't grow grass for one reason or another.
Yeah,
and there's different varieties now, and the little blue flower that comes out.
Oh, yeah. We don't find it. We find it controllable.
Yeah. Now, is this a different golden variety here?
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah, this is
Paradise. Different color palette. Yeah.
Boy, if you were playing up rust tones and.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It is lovely. So, how much supplemental watering do you have to do in the summer?
Quite a bit if it goes really dry.
Do you really?
Yeah. We haven't had that problem thus far. It's rained, 16 Saturdays in a row or something, but so this is, this is lab space, if you will. We've got...
Oh, this is fun. This is really fun.
So this is all dahlias at the moment. We've got, 75 dahlias in trial, both new varieties and old, just to make sure that they're what they're supposed to be, and who do we like, who do we not like.
Right.
The Mardigan lilies are, firing on all cylinders at the moment.
Now, this is something you rarely see in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Rarely see.
We have a bunch of All-American selections.
Oh, my word. Okay, add this to my list.
Yeah, they're fun.
And happy.
Pretty happy. And we have lily leaf beetle, and that is something that we will use spinosad against if we need to.
Yeah.
But they're cool plants.
Ooh, and this color in that modern garden, I just can really see it. If you want more of a masculine quality, more of a modern, that would be a beautiful combination. Look at the seed heads here.
So we're big on oriental poppies.
Oh my gosh.
And in fact, we grow them, so we have a field growing operation down the road.
Oh my word, okay.
And we're growing oriental poppies, which... you tell me. I feel like they're not maybe as available as one would think.
They are not readily available.
Yeah.
I would say almost unavailable.
Yeah. So we offer, probably more than a dozen varieties for fall shipment.
Even if you just grew them to get the pods.
Right.
Look at how beautiful the pods look.
Even the pods in a vase is pretty darn neat. So that's something we have a soft spot for. Division crop and
Yeah.
Yeah, so sunflowers, and you know, we have a bunch of all-American selections out. We're a sort of de facto trial site for them this year. Oh, we should go in here, Linda. You'll get a kick
Okay.
out of this. So we sell tubers. They're delivered in the spring. They come out of the box, these dinky little tubers. You would never expect that they make these unbelievable plants, but they do.
So what is the secret to them being happy?
Oh, well, there is some specific culture, and we've got enormous instructions online.
Okay.
It's nothing terribly exotic. They just, you know, they need a little monitoring and...
No overhead watering. And,
no, exactly.
Yeah. The richness, the intensity. I mean, these begonias, they are the definition of voluptuous in so much, I think, more dramatic way even than roses.
Yeah.
I think they have this velvety quality. Look at that orange one.
Yep.
Oh my word. Yeah. That one. If I were going to become a collector of sorts, right, I don't think it would be orchids or probably even succulents. I think it would be begonias.
Well, Blackmore and Langdon is a very cool nursery. They do a lot of work with delphinium. And of course, they've won a bajillion gold medals at Chelsea. And,
right. Now, this is a display garden, but you do sell the tubers.
We sell tubers in the spring, yep. And so this collection will, you know, it'll peak in another month or so. And once it's passed, our head gardener will put it to bed and do it again next year.
So when I purchase my tubers, I will get literature that tells me everything I need to do to overwinter them.
And we've got a blog post on our website that is, you know, to the week, basically what you need to do.
Very thorough.
So,
Okay, great. Because this is, I can really tell, a newfound passion of mine.
Yeah,
all the leaves are so unblemished and
they're really special.
Gorgeous.
And it's a 70-year relationship with this nursery in England that we're really happy to, I don't know, it's a very emotional, resonant thing.
Well, and I think it's it bespeaks your connection and obviously your mutual love for this.
Yeah.
There's also a certain kind of Victorian quality about them. I think
right,
that isn't present in other plants.
Old-fashioned glass house stuff.
Yes, yes. But again, it's just, and so many of the blooms are bicolored.
Yeah.
And I backlit. There
are a couple of fragrant ones, which I probably won't be able to pick out on the fly, but that does occur from time to time.
May I?
Please, yeah, give them a try.
Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question that I bet all of you out there are also wanting to ask. It's my question of the day. If I want to order, you know, in the South, sometimes we try to do most of our planting in the fall, though certainly we can do it in the spring also. And we are placing an order with White Flower Farm. Talk to me a little bit about your fall and spring shipping policies, habits, etc.
Well, we're definitely on the Northern Gardeners schedule.
Okay.
So we start shipping in March most years, depending on the weather. We ship by hardiness zone, so we'll work from, you know, starting in warmest zones.
Okay.
We'll ship perennials and shrubs first. We'll ship annuals and tender plants as the weather permits.
Okay.
Mostly you'll see on our website ships at the right time for planting. So we keep an eye on the weather and we try to put plants in the gardener's hand at the right time for them.
Primarily spring planting. Do you do much fall planting?
We do. We do a lot of bulbs in the fall,
perennials
and shrubs. You know, annuals for us is a springtime game up here.
Of course.
So, and then in the holiday season, amaryllis and indoor flowering plants.
Yeah, I have gotten many amaryllis from White Flower Farm, and I have gifted Many times, what was your fabulous daffodil collection? What was the name of
The
it?
Works, probably.
The Works.
Yeah.
I have, not to be morbid, but many times rather when someone passes, instead of sending fresh flowers,
that's a nice
I will
thought.
get the Works, and sometimes even help people plant them.
Well, they're forever,
So it's
which
a
is nice.
testimonial to, to that.
Yeah.
Versus,
Oh, that's lovely.
yeah, and I think, it's the Works, the infamous the Works.
The best daffodil mix in the game.
Yeah. And good by the hundreds, better by the thousands.
There you go. Well said. These gardens, these borders get a little mishmashy because that's what we're doing.
Right.
But again, there are some sort of cornerstone, the willow, the dogwood, some things that persist.
Uh-huh. Oh, yet another cool cat nepeta.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a garden of nothing but nepetas
You really could.
And I love the setting, and I love the concept. I mean, this is just traditional English stuff, English
right.
border kind of stuff. Now, for you, it's serving very practical business purposes.
Yep.
But very much so. And then look at a structure behind it, and just how glorious this concept can be interpreted if you have this kind of soil and this kind of expanse and this kind of expertise.
Yeah. Well,
just a few things.
Just a few
Just
prerequisites.
a few things. Boy, I have seen a lot of this.
Yeah.
Sumac.
Yep.
This was very, very popular, and it may still be for a while, but how beautiful does it look with the purple, with any kind of purple foliage plants. And I would encourage people to come visit White Flower Farm just to get planting ideas. Yeah. Just to rearrange your own gardens in perhaps some more effective color combinations, because I've already gotten numerous color combination experiments.
It's a never-ending game, and that's the hope that something here catches your eye and you give it a try at home.
And some of it is just accidental. Ooh, what is this orange lovely over here?
Yeah, that's another Mardigan lily.
Oh, that's lovely. That's my new, I can tell, that's going to be a new obsession of mine. Love that. Just love that. Okay, this is very Klaus Dalby. Are you familiar with Klaus?
Very much so.
He's a social media friend of mine. We've done a lot of things together.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and this is very Klaus Dalby. What a gorgeous color. And have you noticed that not all pinks play well together. Right. You have to have just the right pink. If it's too corally, if it doesn't have enough blue behind it or something, then the whole thing can be off. But this composition is spectacular.
Yeah, I love Klaus's work. We're not operating at his level, but
no, I don't think many of us are. I wrote the foreword for his second book.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he is. Yeah, he transcends what we mere mortals can do.
Right.
And then this is your
this
annual.
Is retail.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's it's a little picked over at this stage of the game, but some of this we grow, some of it's bought in.
Yeah.
And try to have things that are easy for people to pick up and take home.
Now here's something I just noticed. Annuals, because this is basically isolated to annuals, they have a very distinct fragrance, completely different from perennials.
Yeah, it's a little vegetal in here.
If they're in isolation, a completely different fragrance. And of course, not all annuals are fragrant. Website resources. If you're a new gardener, if you're a Southern gardener, if you're whatever, what other resources do you have on your website that they could tap into as really just free content?
No, we have a blog which we try to keep updated. We have every category of plants you could think of: pollinators, natives, sun, shade, deer resistant, all grouped and available. You can shop by hardiness zone, you can shop by color.
Let me ask you another question, because when I first started to garden, the White Flower Farm catalog was my Bible.
Yeah.
It was such a good reference tool. Does White Flower still, can you get on their catalog
absolutely.
mailing list?
Yeah, we mail catalogs. Some people would say too frequently, probably. But
okay, so if you want to get
shy.
okay, so if people want to go,
you'll find it on our website. You can request a copy. Whiteflowerfarm.com. Request a copy. You can join our email list. We'll there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of information on the site, and people can find
I think digital resources are great, but I think hard copy resources are something that you can take out to the garden with you. You can circle that on the page. You have a reference that you can cut and paste, literally cut and paste into your garden journal to give you ideas on really exceptional compositions and plants that will do well in your area.
Yeah, and we also have humans picking up phones.
No,
so
wait,
I know
that's a novel concept.
It's pretty exotic. It's new technology we've been working on. But if you have a plant problem, if you have a question, you give us a ring. We don't know everything about gardening in Oklahoma, but we can coach, we can recommend plants, we can problem solve. We're little, and we need to do little company things, and that's part of it, is being a resource.
And I think conversely, I think all of you out there that are Southern gardeners like myself or garden in the Southwest, you too can be helpful to Elliot by saying, okay, I had an absolutely fabulous experience with this plant that I got from here. I want you to know it. It held up, it performed brilliantly, so that you can add that notation to your website saying, oh, Southerners approved.
And the reverse, by the way, this was awful. And you've got this fact wrong, or it's this, not that. We want to know all this stuff.
I love this about small businesses. I love this about small businesses. No matter how, how iconic they are in the industry, nevertheless, it's an exchange.
We're in the customer business.
Customer service. Well, I have gotten great customer service here.
Good, I'm glad.
Today, thank you so much for
pleasure.
doing this. I do want to, with your permission, we're just going to go down into the area and show where people can actually come and shop here right now, maybe pick up a catalog or two, and give you an idea of where the business side is after we've seen all of these spectacular borders. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it.